man, man, but nah, not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Oh, oh, right now. Now is the vibrate. Right now, man. Beautiful time to be alive, man. We're in the times where things are getting very polarizing. The higher vibrations are vibrating higher. The lower vibrations are vibrating lower. And matter of fact, and the people who find themselves in between right now is going through a living hell. Like you just, matter of fact, honestly, anybody that's in that in between point, y'all make up most of the population that would probably think or consider yourselves to be bipolar right now. Because I know if you like in that in between of like still holding on to your ego and lower vibrations, but knowing it's something better and trying, wanting to raise the vibration, but you like it still in that in between point. But it's all right. You're gonna be forced to make a decision. Not forced, it's under your free will, but the energies is gonna influence you to move in one of the directions, But I want to speak on net neutrality. As a matter of fact, right now, I know y'all see all these little disasters and things happening, which again, I haven't been watching the news, and I don't watch the news, but I let the news come to me. Like I was just telling somebody, I'm like, I'm doing this video on net neutrality because this news came to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have to go watch CNN. Like I would normally on my YouTube thing and looking through some stuff and net neutrality. I'm like, all right, universe, inner self, let me see what it's about. Instead of going sit there and watch the news every day like I have to watch the news to know what's going on. I have to. But I think people be trying to but you don't feel like you gotta watch the news to know what, bruh, I've been not watching the news for the longest, and look where I'm at now. Seems like I'm doing pretty good for myself not watching the news. So I think I'll continue to not watch it. But I'm gonna speak on net neutrality. Basically, net neutrality is like equal rights for all of the internet. It's basically like internet service providers being treated the same with the traffic, with the amount of traffic that comes through and like bits and stuff like that, and the speeds is basically like, everybody has the equal opportunity. It's not like, oh, this website is forced to be this fast and this website forced to be this fast, which I've heard though that even though the net neutrality boundaries have been crossed a little, say for instance, just for example, you got a phone that's in cahoots with Google, let's just say, a Microsoft phone or something like that, and when you're on it and you go to anything that's opposing company, so say for instance, you go to a Yahoo website, it just seems like it's moving just a little bit slower than all the the other websites. Well, that's because, the Microsoft and Google, not saying that Microsoft, Google doing this in specific, I'm just using their name as an example, but there are companies that have done this, where you slow down the opposing company website or whatever on your product. So, if it's an AT&T phone and you're trying to use a Verizon site or something like that, it's gonna make it slower. So the kind of in essence to discourage you from using the other, the competitors, stuff. What's funny? I think I gotta get back to the doing me some going flip through the dictionary, get me some more words, brush my words back up. I'm not one into feeling like I have to use big words and stuff like that, but every now and then I like to change it up. I'm one that isn't hard on grammatical errors and feel like I gotta use a big word all the time, but I do like to use different words for words that are just so redundant. You know what I'm saying? It's I could use another word for that. So basically, with net neutrality, you got the Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, is basically trying to take away net neutrality. They're not bringing it, they're trying to take it away. And matter of fact, too, I found it funny. Like, I ain't even gonna do a separate video on this. I'm gonna just mention it right now, just like on a low level, right quick. But how the divine feminine is really moving forward. Like, I saw Taraji B. Henson got this little new movie coming out. I forgot, Angry Mary or something like that. And then I saw that wrestling is gonna have the first all women's Royal Rumble. And then dealing with the FCC with the net neutrality, you know, the three people who oppose taking net neutrality away are basically the three people who are for net neutrality, for keeping it the way we have been having it, is three women. So I'm seeing right now how that divine feminine is just lining up for the future. It's like, you know, like, it's almost like setting the stage, like, hey y'all, remember when this crazy ass person Ajit Pai, which they just making him the face, unfortunately, you know, but he making the money, like, fuck it, I'll take it. But anyway, excuse my diction, but we're gonna remember, like, when the government was tripping and this and that it was the women in politics that stood up in this time, you know what I'm saying? And I see, just in that small moment, people not probably putting that on blast like that, but I know I see it like as a, you know, a divine energy, especially like I say with all the other little things, you know, that I'm seeing also where the feminine energy is rising up. But that's definitely something too. I know one of them is a melanated woman, so you know, even with that, like, you know, the melanated people awakening, so you know. But yes, the Federal Communications Committee is trying to take away net neutrality. And I'm gonna get into the important thing about net neutrality, because what's being broadcast to everybody, and you start to see how the news is playing propaganda. They only talking about well, you know, your internet is only gonna move so slow for certain websites. That's kind of like the main thing they kind of, you know, talking about, because, you know, they don't really want to talk about the seriousness of, like, how it's really trying to enforce, like, where people who aren't fortunate enough, abundant wise, their internet is going to be controlled, and they're only going to be allowed certain sites and so much speed. And with that speed being slowed down, that's going to take away the opportunities from the entrepreneurs, the innovators, and the new people coming to the table. But just a little briefing on Ajit Pai, where I saw he went to Harvard for social sciences. And the reason why I took note of that, because I always tell people, man, like, I don't know how you could continue to be duped by these government, you know, by all of this stuff when, like, say for instance, he went to school for social sciences, so that means he knows how psychology and sociology work. Or let's just say that's what they're teaching. If he graduated and got a degree, then he, you know, obviously must have learned, you know, something, you know, unless they're giving away diplomas at Harvard, you know, I don't know. But he went to this prestigious school to learn about psychology and sociology, you know what I'm saying? And I always put that on blast, that, you know, like, these news people and things like this, PR departments have degrees in, like, psychology and sociology, mostly and mainly to know how to manipulate your subconscious, you know. So with all this, you know what I'm saying, like, Ajit Pai, from his little clowning videos to everything he doing right now, he knows what he's doing, he knows what he's a part of, you know what I'm saying? And it's just getting down to the point of, like, even down to when he's acting ignorant on TV, as far as, like, oh, you know, I think it's not that silly. I think net neutrality is, you know, taken away is gonna have these strong points, and why everybody is against me. Like, you know, he kind of playing the villain. Matter of fact, honestly, he kind of having fun with it, like Donald Trump, and that's just like, I just be real with you, you know, rightfully so. It's all a game anyway, you know what I'm saying? So hey, have fun. But realizing that, I tell people though, man, like, all these people. So in picture, not only you dealing with social sciences, so dealing with the subconscious and knowing how it works, but you also went to a prestigious school. So that means, you know, from the standard of America, this school provides this education on a quote unquote high level. So I mean, you're real good at what you do. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to acting like you don't know what's going on the social level and like, I don't know what's going on, this and that, it's like, how could we allow those people to even put themselves in that position when they got these prestigious diplomas from places that, you know, that excel in these situations? So, you know, you got a diploma from Harvard in social sciences. So that means, you know, you really, you know, into knowing how you know, how we operate on the social level. So that also means you know how the subconscious works. If you know how the subconscious works, then you know it runs 90% of what we do and say and act upon. And you know that if you put certain information in it, that you influence people. So with that being said, anybody who presents information that is unbeneficial to you, they know what they're doing. Whether it's them consciously or some type of evil entity moving behind them, one or the other is conscious of what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because I always say, if you know you're not doing all the way good, then you know something wrong in there. Man, like I need to do a video about that just alone. Like just a quick thing fast. Like if you questioning your marriage just a little, then you know it's something sour you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you like, I wonder if I should say that to this person, then you probably shouldn't. If it doesn't feel like, oh yes, this is the perfect thing to say, this is the perfect thing to do, man, I know they're gonna love this, I know when I say this is gonna, if you're not feeling like that, then just don't even deal with it. Because a lot of times, in which of course I'm guilty of it in the past, because we all was dysfunctional in our egos, where you kind of know, but then you still kind of go the other way. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, bruh, you consciously, you know, being deceitful in essence. But and also I noticed too how the internet and the health food companies like dealing with the rise of the vegan movement. Matter of fact, I just heard something. I saw I think it's Red Pill and Brother Rich did a video recently talking about how Kyrie Irving, you know, is now a vegan, and talking about how his performance on the basketball court is due to being a vegan. Meat eaters. Y'all, and what's funny, you don't realize that the fact that you holding on to it and fighting for it is an animalistic characteristic. But I digress. Cause matter of fact, I'm not gonna be like you. I'm not trying to force you to do anything. I'm not trying to say I'm right or wrong or none of that. I'm just talking about facts and what you can see. You know what I'm saying? But you know, the internet providers and the health food stores, right now what's going on is a lot of these companies is buying out other little smaller companies, which they low-key all in cahoots and all some type of relative down the line of some sort. But you know, they swallowing each other. You know, like Amazon just bought Whole Foods. You know, it's different little situations like that. And like internet providers, you know, you might have like Google buy a certain company, or this company buy a certain company, AT&T get bought out by Google or something. You know, like it's these type of little situations going on. Cause too, it's a little bit of both. You're gonna have some righteousness going on, then you got some deceitfulness going on. Now, of course, money talks on the level to where the people who are trying to oppress us, they will, say for instance, if we talking about eating vegan and, you know, and eating healthy, and that's what we all going in a direction towards, they're like, all right, we got to play both sides of the fence, you know, because we gotta make money, you know what I'm saying? Because say for instance, we be completely stubborn and say, no, we're going to just keep that unhealthy food, then they just going to go bankrupt and allow us to quickly rise up with our own companies, you know. But instead of that, they're like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy out this company right here, you know, change the name or just hide behind the name of this company, and yeah, we're gonna keep them making vegan stuff, but we may add a new ingredient to this bar or whatever food it is, and we may, you know, push another little line of foods from out of this company that, you know, not all the way non-GMO, not all the way, you know what I'm saying? So That's another thing to be careful of what's coming up next. You know, like these companies, they buy out each other and all that just to hide themselves. You know, so you won't know that Coca-Cola runs. To put it in perspective, like say for instance, and which this happens like this sometimes, like Nature Valley. You know, the Nature Valley, the little natural bars where they healthier than candy, but they not the healthiest thing. You know, it's a healthier option for people who've been eating unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? But the little natural Nature Valley bars, like where a company like Coca-Cola would own, you know, Nature Valley. Like that's the type of stuff that be going on behind the scenes. You know, like and then Coca say, you know, hey, let's put the whole Coca-Cola formula in the Nature Valley bar. I'm clowning, but that's why they grab hold of these companies so they could sneakily still have that face of that company, but then like kind of do some Coca-Cola stuff, you know what I'm saying, behind the scenes, but you know, still Nature Valley, hey, you know. And again, this is an example, you know, if you watching or catching on late, I'm not saying that Coca-Cola owns Nature Valley. I'm using this as an example, but you know, this is how these things work. But back to net neutrality, too, on another explanation. So basically, I watched a little video, Brethren from MIT broke this down. Hold on, right quick, get all this stuff out of the way. So basically, your cable, you have one cable that your internet deals with, you know, or that your cable and internet runs off of. So basically, like one cable, you know, and you got your cable moving smoothly, your internet moving smoothly, and they all kind of use the same. They both use the same amount of like or not the same amount, but in essence like the same like units of speed. So like in the same bits. So basically, you know, what happens is, you know, when you want to watch your, you know, your TV, whatever on TV, you know, you go through the TV line, but then whenever you're on the internet, you know, whenever you're on the internet, the information travels through the internet line, you know what I'm saying? But it moves evenly, you know, they have the same amount of bits. But what's happening is, so say for instance too, like right now, the cable providers control what channels that come through. So basically, like if you got Cox Communication, they may let ESPN, they may have ESPN, but they don't allow no Fox Sports, you know what I'm saying? And they have the right to do that, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the cable company cannot control, you know, the internet. So say for instance, even though the cable and internet, that's another thing, even though the cable and internet running through the same wire, like how it always been, and you running it, so your internet running through a cable provider. So say for instance, Cox is over your internet too, but Cox can't control what internet content you deal with. They only got a package deal for the, you know, for the cable. So basically, you know what I'm saying, with the internet, you could go to Fox and ESPN at the same time, have two tabs open. You know, that's that freedom that we got, you know what I'm saying, with the internet and how it is. Well, losing net neutrality basically would take away that internet lane, you know what I'm saying? Well, basically, the bigger companies, like, so the companies will start moving on the cable. They'll start moving to like so say for instance, 'cause Netflix, this already kind of happened somewhere, but not on a level where it was forced. Like say for instance, Netflix, you could acquire Netflix from the internet. Netflix has a website, but they also have like an app type of setup in the cable, you know, in like a cable type of format, because it allows for the Netflix to move faster than compared to the internet. So what's happening is a lot of these companies is moving to that cable connection, and with them moving to the cable connection, that's gonna have to open up the amount of bits and speed is moving at, while decreasing the bits and speed on the internet. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the problems start to come in. So basically, losing that neutrality will take away the internet lane, turning the wire into like almost like a one pathway for a cable provider. And I mean, yeah, the internet lane will still be there, but it'll be very small, you know, and basically also allowing the cable providers to now restrict certain websites and data speeds for certain websites. So picture, you know, you and I'm about to go way left field, but just say, for instance, Comcast, say, no YouTube on your internet. Like, just, I'm going raw to show you how raw they could be. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I've been telling people we been in North Korea in disguise. They just kind of subtly, like, push everything on us piece by piece. You know what I'm saying? But think about that. Like, if Comcast on these companies say no YouTube, you know what I'm saying? No infinite waters, no universal frequencies, no UGR, you know, no Brother Rich, you know, like none of that. Like, we taking all that away, you know what I'm saying? And that's basically what they're trying to do in essence, because basically the message is like we see y'all watching the internet all the time, and this is Aquarius age, y'all getting all this info through this internet. So bam, we about to make a little move, in which they always, like I say, always been doing these types of things, but now we just all awoke. And now not only we awoke, but say for instance, now they're doing these things, but now the vibration of their operations is getting lower. So now the veil is lifted, where it's becoming more obvious that they're trying to mess over us, you know what I'm saying? But again, the cable providers will be allowed to restrict certain websites and data speeds on certain sites, and also they're gonna have it on a level 2, to where, you know, people who can't pay, you know, enough for the say for their cable and stuff like that, where they're gonna have certain restrictions on certain websites, you know, and they subtly move it, because like say if you're thinking from a blind place, you're like, oh well, that's okay, we just use the sites that we got. Like, no man, that means you won't be able to, like, basically that's kind of a step closer to North Korea, like how they have no outside information, like they don't know what's going on in any other country right now, except for, matter of fact, they barely even know. I'm not trying to they barely know what's going on in their own country, let alone what's outside their country. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Do you want to be like that? Anyway, you know what I'm saying? But that's what the net neutrality is, steps towards it. And I tell people too, it's just like a bully. Like, matter of fact, coming up in my neighborhood, you come up in the hood or anywhere, just in life though, you shouldn't let nobody run over you. And two though, the type of like bullies or just anybody that try to test you, you know, it's like a test. Like, first I'm gonna knock your pencil off your desk. Then if you don't say nothing, you let me do that, then I'm gonna walk by your desk and slap you on the head, you know. And if you don't say that, I'm gonna come through and take your book sack and empty it all out on your desk, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it only gets worse, you know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, I'm sleeping with your wife or your spouse, you know, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? But that's how the government moves. It's like, let's see, all right, let's try to take away net neutrality right now. Let's see, let's hurry up and make a move on it before everybody get woke. So we're gonna make a move on it. And then bam, they make a move on it, and then they looking at all the tweets and all the, you know, the stuff on the internet and YouTube, and looking at the ratings on these shows that's talking about net neutrality, and they're like, all right, everybody seem to be kind of woke. All right, we can't really just put that iron gauntlet down, you know. And it's all implemented in pieces, you know what I'm saying? So where you look up and then you sit in a concentration camp watching Trump TV like Kim Jong-il, you know what I'm saying? We don't want that to happen. I'm just clowning because I know this won't happen. I know we good, but I'm just, you know, clowning though to show you though the scenario of if we all allow this to happen, you know what I'm saying? And it's all about just being the change we want to see, like knowing what's going on and just being upfront and speaking out and helping change, like being aware and helping others to be aware that we gotta, you know, move on this situation to help change this, you know. But that's basically it. And also though, and I mentioned this a little before though, it's gonna be restricted by the internet being restricted. You know, it's gonna be restricting sites and slowing down the speeds of loading and stuff like that. So picture like all the entrepreneur people and stuff like that. Picture that, all right, now that people who with lower incomes can't get the fullness of the internet, people won't be able to watch my YouTube videos, say for instance. Like certain people won't be able to watch my YouTube videos. Matter of fact, YouTube, depending on what your cable provider is with, will be moving slower or faster, you know what I'm saying? Like that's basically what's going on. And then two, from the overall speed of the internet dropping just in general, everybody is going to be discouraged about even dealing with the internet, you know what I'm saying, if that was allowed to happen, you know what I'm saying? So that's another thing to it, you know, like that's the subtleness that they're not putting on blast as they, you know, talking this propaganda on the TV, you know. In which, of course, some of the people that may be against it, of course, is talking, you know, on that part of it. But for the most part, the little stage they setting on TV on these news channels is just like, oh, well, you know, they just mostly talking about the companies sharing, like internet speeds, things of this nature, but they're not getting into the gist of how it's gonna stop, you know, because again, they're trying to oppress. The oppressor don't say, hey, we're trying to oppress y'all, so this is how we're gonna do it. Like, no, that's not how it worked, you know what I'm saying? Like, even with slavery, like, it wasn't just no overpowering in all those situations. It was like, hey, it's a smile and, you know, the Holy Bible, and like, how you doing? Look, you want to learn about Jesus Christ? Like, let me show you a little bit about Jesus, our Lord and Savior, that just was born just a while ago, even though you've been practicing religion way before we were even existing. You know? I like to get them little small ones, and I like to, but you know, that's basically what they're trying to do, you know, it's just like trying to boss hog North Korea style, you know. But again, because there are some of us who are consciously aware in this country, you know, they know that they can't just and do some old crazy, you know, overpowering stuff. But just so far what they've done, you know, that, you know, they just basically making little moves right now to push forward and see if it's gonna work, you know, to try to make things happen and to see where we at, you know, see it, you know, if they have to fall back, because they know they gotta fall back. But again, they swinging, like after you out of bullets, you're throwing the gun, you know what I'm saying? That's basically what they're doing. And you just start to see, like, again, back to sociology and psychology, like sociology, you know, why, you know, mentally, like, matter of fact, even besides a law, like, say, for besides dealing with the internet and laws about, like, you know, not fixing nothing that's, you know, how we don't fix something that's not broke, you know what I'm saying? But even from a sociological level, you know, psychology level too, like, you know, what are you doing? We've been good with this before, like, why, you know, did you see something in us socially or psychologically that showed that we needed to, you know, change this, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on with this, you know what I'm saying? So why, you know what I'm saying, fix something that isn't broken, you know? But that's basically it. And then right quick too, I want to explain too, I caught a little insight on them using the word net neutrality, and I'm like, that's that low-key word magic / euphemism type of situation. Cause say for instance, when the average person that barely watch the news, or, you know, just kind of not into all these words and stuff like that, don't get into that stuff. When you hear the word net neutrality, when you hear the word neutrality, you just think, oh, neutral, all right, well, that ain't nothing too bad. You know, like, first thing that comes to your head, like, neutral, that don't sound too bad, something neutral, you know. And it's to give people that, like, so when they're hearing net neutrality, they're like, whatever, something about neutral. Now, if they said taking away the internet, or giving the internet more power, you know what I'm saying, if they was blatant in the words like that, then it would have people more like, let me pay attention to this shit, you know what I'm saying? But because it's like, you know, net neutrality, like, they use these big words to kind of keep people, matter of fact, how they miseducate you and make sure everybody don't get an education, and then on the other end try to use big words so the people, and then claim to help you, claim to be, oh, you know, we helping you, we care about you, you know. Well, why you ain't letting people know what all the laws is? Why you ain't letting people know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? That don't sound like you're trying to help me, you know what I'm saying? It sound like you're trying to hide something from me. Why, instead of using words like espionage and, you know, going on these different missions and things of this nature, why you don't just say we killing these motherfuckers for all, you know? Excuse my diction, I'm just using motherfucker, you know, for that situation. But, you know, why you don't just say what you're really doing, you know what I'm saying? Like that. Bro, just telling y'all, man, just pay attention, you know. But yeah, the word neutrality, you know, trying to, you know, because the subconscious, you hearing that word neutral and you're just thinking like, oh, everything cool, that's neutral. So it ain't nothing to really pay attention to, you know. But Matter of fact, for this video cut off on me though, I'm about to, you know, but that's basically it, you know what I'm saying? That's net neutrality, you know, from the information I got in a nutshell, you know, what's going on. They're basically trying to, North Korea, basically. It's like the beginning steps of it, you know what I'm saying? Don't forget, man, this is the same country that dealt with Operation Paperclip, that brought the German scientists from the Holocaust straight to NASA. This is the same country that claims to be the land of free and equal opportunity, but put all the Asians in concentration camps when they were fighting against Japan or for the Pearl Harbor situation, you know what I'm saying? Putting citizens in concentration camp. Remember, this is who you're dealing with. Like, you know what I'm saying? The you know, the Pentagon, you know, the two presidents go against the Federal Reserve, and they the only two presidents we got that's assassinated. The only impeached president, not say only, but the one I could think of, like Nixon. He's the only one that was against Bohemian Grove, where he spoke out like he's like, I'm not about hugging those I'm not about dancing in the something in the woods naked, hugging redwoods or something like that, hugging trees, you know, basically knocking the Bohemian Grove, which though is something that the presidents all kind of go through, but you know, that's why they threw him under the bus. But just pay attention and do your research. Do your research. It's out there. And never feel you have to prove yourself to ignorance. Like how I'm speaking on this and somebody, well, universal frequencies, how you know this? How you know that? Man, you explain to me why you don't know. That's what you do. I don't have to go to trial. I'm not on trial for your stupidity. Like, point blank, period. For your ignorance, pick up a book like me and learn it. Or channel it. Use your intuition. Get some good information. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrator course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now.